This is Twit.
Not a lot of information on these. More information expected at E3 in July. It's certainly radically different from the rumors that were floating around last week.
Yes.
But,
yeah.
1.5 times the performance per watt, they're claiming 1.25 times the performance per clock. They're getting out of the RDNA architecture. There's a lot going on here. Also, PCI Express 4.0 support, which we'll talk about more in a couple minutes. But this is, they're making some big claims on this coming in July. The 5000 series, everybody was kind of. It's funny because the Anantech article they took pains to point out that hey, this is a big. This isn't Vega. This is Radeon 7. This isn't like Unicorn Fart 4. They're like series numbers and blunt force. Like, oh look, we're going to do a much bigger number. You think 2800 sounds great? You think 2800 Ti sounds better? Fine, we'll go to 5000.
Well, I think they may have been forced to go to 5000. I had read some things about NVIDIA possibly trademarking a whole bunch of product names, knowing that AMD hadn't released anything publicly yet. So AMD is trying to spin this as, well, it's our 50th anniversary, and they have like the 50 highlighted in the 5000 name.
Right.
But they haven't had a 5000 series part in a long time. And we had the HD 5870 and all of those parts just a few years ago. So it's funny to see them go back to 5000 again already. And of course, I see RX 5700 and my mind makes that FX. And then we think back to that lovely FX 5000 series, like the FX 5200. And, those were NVIDIA chips. So, it's just a product name. Most people who don't have years of experience with this stuff are not going to make those, comparisons in their mind. But it was funny to see, like, the rumor was it was going to be the 3080. They leapfrog Intel and have a 3000 series part to compete with their 2000 series parts. But 5000 is a bigger number. So obviously that means it's better, right?
Right. Well, let's talk about this, right? The AMD, I guess they took 30 games, testing at 4K, 3840 by 2160, ultra settings, 4x anti-aliasing. And they said it was 25% faster than a Vega on a clock-for-clock basis. 25% gain in performance is kind of a big deal right now.
We were just talking about 15, so this is obviously a lot better than that. Clock for clock, we're talking about IPC. And, one of the things about moving to 7 nanometer, because this is going to be a 7 nanometer GPU, is you kind of have some options. You can try to be more aggressive with clock speeds, with that bigger thermal envelope, and you could also be a lot more efficient, so it's great for mobile parts. If they're striking a balance and still finding that kind of IPC improvement, that'll be really impressive. Although getting that much additional performance, we might be looking at a similar situation to Radeon 7, which was a GPU that outperformed Vega by around the same 20-25% number, but was still pulling 300 watts. So, they could be pushing the very edge there.
They were talking about, a 50% increase in performance per watt is the equivalent of saying we've reduced the wattage consumption by half for a given performance. I mean, this is yet another thing. We're not going to know what the real story is until the product actually ships, and you start beating the snot out of it with benchmarks. But this is it's going to be a real good July if they ship everything and they have volume. It's going to be a really good July for for AMD. They were a little vague. They had very little information about a test board running against an RTX 2070. I like to call it I have to look it up because they keep trying to call it something different, not entirely family friendly. But Strange Brigade, which is a game that normally offers a bit of a performance benefit or is favorable to AMD in terms of gaming performance. But they were showing it off against an RTX 2070. And, we won't know until E3 what exactly the pricing is and the exact release dates and how it compares. I think they're probably hammering on the drivers on this as fast as they can. I suspect these will be all over the place at E3. I'm suddenly like, oh, I don't want to go to E3, but boy, this is really tempting.
Yeah, and especially if some of the rumored prices are accurate, because that's really the crux of the matter. Is you can offer whatever percentage performance increase, but if they're offering this at a very compelling price and undercut NVIDIA, then it becomes a lot more interesting. And they showed that 2070 demo. There have been rumors that they were showing the 2070 because they are going to bring it out to compete with the 2070's price point, which would mean this first 5000 series part, if it's the 5700 or whatever it's called, is going to be $499 with, or maybe that would be, I think that was the 80 series part. But some of these rumors are back when we were looking at 3080 and 3070 as the rumored names with those prices. So somewhere between $399 and $499, but none of that has been confirmed by AMD. And like you said, E3, we have to wait a couple more weeks until their big event that they've teased. I believe it's the new Next Horizon is the event name at E3. So I'm sure they'll be giving us product names and pricing, and then we'll have obviously a lot clearer picture of what to expect.